March 27th, 2026. An F-18 Super Hornet pulls low over Chabahar port, its Vulcan cannon tearing into targets below. Routine by now. The squadron had been running these patterns for 10 days, long enough for someone on the ground to notice. A MANPADS missile detonates just behind the aircraft. The Hornet survives. What kept it in the air? And why had the IRGC been waiting? The Super Hornet barrels in low over the port, engines howling, hugging the contours of Chabahar's industrial coastline. The M61 Vulcan cannon spins up, a metallic blur, spitting shells into Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps positions along the quay. This is not the first run of the day. For 10 days, the squadron has flown similar patterns, each pass carving a deeper groove into the routines of defenders below. The pilot's eyes sweep the horizon, hands steady on the stick, every muscle tuned for the brake turn that comes after the trigger is released. Suddenly, a flash from the ground. A thin white plume slices upward, almost invisible against the haze, closing the gap in seconds. The missile's warhead bursts just behind the tail, a searing ball of flame and shrapnel. The blast rattles the airframe, but the Hornet holds together. No fire, no smoke, no sudden loss of control. In that instant, instinct and training take over. The pilot yanks the jet into a hard left brake, pulling G-forces that pin him to the seat, forcing the missile's tracking system into a futile chase. Alarms blare in the cockpit, but the aircraft responds. Fly-by-wire controls and redundancy built for moments like this. No countermeasures deploy. Either the threat came too late, or the brake turn did its job. Behind, the missile's vapor trail drifts and dissipates. Ahead, the mission is not over. The Hornet levels out, checks systems, and presses on, finishing the run before heading for open water. Every second, from missile launch to escape, is a test of platform and pilot. Proof that survival in contested airspace depends on more than armor or electronics. It is a contest of reflexes, design, and the relentless pressure of repeated exposure. Frame-by-frame analysis of the incident video reveals the missile's trajectory and detonation geometry in stark detail. At 2.8 seconds after the Hornet's brake turn, a distinct white plume arcs up from the shoreline, tracking the jet's exhaust line. The warhead's proximity fuse triggers just aft of the tail section, visible as a rapid outward blast pattern with shrapnel dispersing in a lateral cone. The offset from the fuselage is measurable, approximately 8 meters behind the tail, close enough for overpressure and fragments to threaten control surfaces and engine inlets, but not a direct strike. Digital overlays match the detonation to the aircraft's position, confirming the missile functioned as designed. Yet the Hornet's flight data, sourced from open-source sortie logs, shows no abrupt loss of altitude or speed in the seconds following the blast. This absence of catastrophic damage suggests both the aircraft's structural resilience and the limits of the MANPADS warhead at near-miss distances. The pilot's immediate course correction, visible in the video's next frames, aligns with standard evasion doctrine, a high G brake that exploits the missile's tracking lag and forces a premature fuse activation. Patterns in the video archive tell a broader story. Over the prior 10 days, the squadron's flight paths had traced similar ingress and egress routes along Chabahar's coastline. This repetition, mapped across time-stamped frames, provided IRGC gunners with a predictive edge, enough time to conceal launch teams and calibrate their aim for a fleeting shot at a vulnerable moment. The evidence embedded in each frame does more than confirm survival. It hints at a calculated ambush enabled by the grinding rhythm of modern air operations. Twin F-414 G400 engines anchor the Super Hornet's reputation, each producing 22,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner. This surplus of power is not just for show. It gives the pilot the ability to break free from a missile's blast or keep energy through sharp, low-level turns. When the threat is real and seconds matter, acceleration becomes survival. The airframe is built for punishment, with reinforced control surfaces, protected fuel tanks, and a structure proven to take hits and keep flying. Redundant fly-by-wire systems and backup hydraulics offer insurance when chaos erupts, letting the pilot trust the jet to respond even as alarms blare and debris fills the air. Awareness matches muscle. The AN/APG-79 AESA radar scans air and ground at once, tracking moving targets and streaming real-time data to the cockpit. This technology lets the pilot anticipate threats, not just react, and adjust tactics in the moment. Carrier-based design shapes every detail, including short launches, arrested landings, and rapid turnarounds. 11 weapon stations and over 400 possible loadouts mean the Super Hornet can switch roles mid-mission. In the thick of combat, these features turn the jet from a strike platform into a survivor, giving the pilot the edge to escape and adapt. Electronic defenses on the Super Hornet operate in layers, blending jamming, expendables, and decoys into a seamless shield. At the heart of the system is the AN/ALQ-214, a digital radio frequency jammer designed to confuse and degrade missile seekers before they can lock on. When ground threats spike, the jammer floods the air with tailored noise, blinding radar-guided missiles and forcing infrared trackers to hunt through a haze of false signals. If a missile gets closer, the AN/ALE-47 dispenser comes into play, launching flares and chaff to mask the jet's heat and radar signature. These expendables scatter in the aircraft's wake, creating a cloud of competing targets that can lure a missile's guidance system away from the real jet. For the most persistent threats, the AN/ALE-50 or ALE-55 towed decoy trails behind on a fiber optic line, presenting a brighter, more tempting electronic signature. The decoy's geometry, far enough from the jet to draw the missile's seeker, but close enough to remain under the pilot's control, gives the Super Hornet an extra margin of error in the final seconds of an attack. Each system works in concert, buying precious time and distance. In the chaos of a low-level ambush, these countermeasures can mean the difference between a near miss and a direct hit, reducing the odds that a single missile will end the mission. Admiral Tangziri's name had become synonymous with the IRGC Navy's aggressive tactics in the Strait of Hormuz. For 8 years, he directed operations that disrupted shipping lanes and challenged foreign navies, earning a place on the U.S. Treasury's sanctions list in 2019. Now, as Operation Epic Fury battered Iran's naval forces, rumors swirled of his removal, though no official statement confirmed his fate. The absence of such a central figure left a gap at the top, one that amplified uncertainty within IRGC ranks. Commanders on the ground faced mounting pressure to deliver results, not only to counter U.S. and Allied strikes, but to prove IRGC's continued relevance amid a cascade of setbacks. At the same time, the diplomatic clock ticked in the background. Reports suggested a 10-day extension for Iranian access through the Strait, with at least 2 Chinese cargo vessels denied passage as tensions spiked. Each day of restricted trade tightened the economic vice, raising the cost of inaction for Iran's military leadership. The combination of disrupted shipping, international scrutiny, and a command vacuum forced IRGC units to take greater risk. For crews manning man-portable air defense systems, MANPADS, near Chabahar, this meant seizing any fleeting chance to strike back, no matter the odds or the consequences. In this environment, even a single near miss against a U.S. fighter became fuel for information campaigns, as both sides raced to shape the narrative of control and survival. Iranian state media wasted no time broadcasting claims that the Super Hornet had been destroyed, touting a supposed victory for their air defense teams. Footage of the missile's near miss circulated widely, edited to suggest a successful shootdown. The narrative, amplified by official statements, painted the engagement as proof of Iran's ability to contest the skies over Chabahar. Yet within hours, United States Central Command issued a categorical denial. No American aircraft were lost. No confirmed casualties were reported, and there was no evidence to support the Iranian version of events. The official record stood in stark contrast to the propaganda blitz, underscoring a familiar battle for credibility that plays out alongside every high-profile incident. On the ground, the terrain itself shaped the threat. Chabahar's coastline is a patchwork of rocky outcrops, industrial warehouses, and shallow inlets, ideal for hiding MANPADS teams. The geography offers cover for ambushes, making low-level flight paths especially hazardous. Even after repeated strikes, the risk of concealed launchers remains, forcing pilots to weigh every approach and exit against the possibility of another missile lurking in the shadows. Coalition planners responded with concrete adjustments. Reinforcements began arriving in theater, including a 2,500-strong Marine Expeditionary Unit and elements of the 82nd Airborne Brigade. Their mission was to bolster coastal security, support search and rescue, and deter further escalation. These moves were not just about force projection, but about adapting to a contested environment where every mission could trigger a new round of claims and counterclaims. The near miss over Chabahar served as a reminder that survival in this battle space depends on both tactical adaptation and the ability to shape the information war. Today, each F-18 mission over Iran's coast threads a needle between advanced IRGC ambush tactics and the Hornet's own electronic defenses, flare dispensers, and pilot skill. Survivability relies on adaptation, not routine. As escalation and propaganda intensify, every flight tests both technology and resolve. The margin for error narrows,